Hi guys, my name is Ryan. I'm a student at WVU and I have a capstone class this semester that we're working on. And so we are making buckwheat cakes. We decided that part of the capstone is we have to develop a small business, and I thought, because I live in West Virginia and because I've been to the Buckwheat Festival, that we would pursue trying to provide a different option for people who don't want pancakes. They're very similar to pancakes. The only difference is instead of using regular all-purpose flour, you're using buckwheat flour to make the buckwheat cakes. So it's myself and one other student in the class. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here today. So we thought we would try to show you guys how we go about making buckwheat cakes here at Pine Grove through YouTube. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 6 eggs and crack them open and put them in this bowl right here. Put all the liquid measuring or the liquid ingredients in here. So the first thing I always do is take an egg, crack it, Okay, so once you've cracked all the eggs, I always like to throw the eggs in a garbage can, the shells, and kind of wash off my hands before I go, like just put some water on it, rinse it. The next step is you need some buttermilk. And we used buttermilk from Kroger. It's the cultured whole milk buttermilk. Really, you just need buttermilk, and make sure it's not expired either. They tend to go pretty quick. So before you go pouring it into a liquid measuring cup, make sure that you kind of swish around the buckwheat buttermilk so that everything kind of moves and it's not sitting at the bottom. I've noticed when I use it. So we're going to take 3 3/4 cup buttermilk and we're going to pour it into this bowl here as the next part of this thing. So there's about 2 cups. Okay. Now we're going to take 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now we're going to take a whisk and kind of get all this stuff mixed up together. Okay. That looks mixed. Okay, so you leave that there. You set it aside. You take another bowl, preferably a bigger one that is more deep, and we put all the dry ingredients in here. So like I said, instead of using regular all-purpose flour, we're going to use buckwheat flour. And whatever type you get is up to you, but I like the dark buckwheat flour, the one that's the darker color. And because these things are kind of hard for me to latch onto, I normally just pour it into the thing, even though normally I'd go in, take it out, and use a butter knife or a paring knife to top off the top. And so basically we need 3 cups and 1 tablespoon of buckwheat flour. And just so you know, it's a rough estimate. Like, you really just, I just go by eye on a lot of this stuff. I don't really like micromanage every little part of it because it takes, you just be here all day. So here we go. Here's the 1 last tablespoon. Okay. have to get granulated sugar, not powdered sugar, but regular Domino sugar, and take 3 tablespoons of this. Now we take 3/4 of a teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt. Usually I just take a 1/4 teaspoon and do another one and another one, and that gives you 3/4. Now this is baking soda that I ended up putting into a Ziploc baggie, and so we need 3 teaspoons of this. So 1 second here. 3 teaspoons of this. Similarly, we're going to need 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And I believe that is all the dry ingredients. So now we go ahead and we mix the dry ingredients together, make sure they're all formulated and everything is mixed well before I put both the wet and the dry ingredients together in this bowl. Okay. So here's what the flour kind of looks like. It's real dark. Looking if you can see it, I don't know. But and so now we will take the wet ingredients in here and pour them into the dry. Try to make sure when you pour this in that you make sure the bowl is at least halfway across this bowl, or you'll end up pouring it out onto the ground. And then take your spatula or whatever you have and start mixing again slowly. All right, so the batter is also dark looking. It looks something like this right here, if you guys can see. That's what it looks like, and it doesn't come out super easily whenever you're pouring it onto a skillet. We normally use a griddle because we do it outside and we don't have access to like burners. But since we're in here, the next part to this would be to take 1/4 cup. This right here, pour it in, and then once the burner is warmed up, you throw it on, and we're going to show what that looks like right now. So here we go. I'm going to move this over. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to move some stuff around because I don't want to leave out stuff that may perish here. Okay. So one thing that helps with these and makes them taste better is some butter. This is kind of what I've seen online when I've looked around about what people use to help just bring more flavor and just make it taste better overall, and also keep it from sticking to the, I mean, you can use olive oil in a lot of things, but this is what we found to be the best. And so all I do is I take a butter knife and I cut like 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch of butter off, and I throw it on the skillet here. And let it heat up. So we're gonna give it a little bit here. to heat up before I start. Okay, I'm starting to feel the heat off this front burner, so I'm gonna take a quarter of an inch, maybe less than that, of unsalted butter, using a butter knife to cut it off the bar. Unsalted Irish butter, or whatever you call it. And you let that melt. And use your thing to kind of move the butter around so it gets all over the skillet here. And then, I mean, at this point, really, it's all about just you take your 1/4 cup, or however much you want to make per, and you dip it in, and you pour the thing on to the skillet. Hopefully it cooperates here. You can see how it doesn't like to spread very easily, and that's because I didn't mix it before I started. You want to make sure you mix it every time before you start doing it again, or else it won't. They don't really look very pleasing to the eye, but if you know what buckwheat cakes are and you know what they taste like, you probably know this already, that they don't look good, but they taste good in my opinion. And really what I do is I just wait until I can kind of get underneath it, and I just keep working at it until eventually it feels like I can pull it off without the top just I know that you're supposed to wait till the bubbles, but that's how I do it. I kind of just get underneath it. See, like right now it's already starting to, so at this point I just do one real quick here and then flip it over. And I let it go for like another minute and a half. This is it, man. I mean, they're pretty simple. The more you make them, you know, the better you get at it. And obviously, you know, we're nothing special here, but we wanted to show you how we go about making them. So here it is. And so at this point, I just get out a plate, which we're going to this to put them on. And we just throw it on here. And this is what they look like. Okay. You know, I mean, you can put syrup on them. We normally just take syrup that we got from the store here. We use this maple, spring tree maple syrup. And then I also got some online from Amazon. Same thing, dark maple syrup. But I know everyone has their preferences on that. And then we normally add butter on top if you want it. We don't do sausage, we just do buckwheat cakes. So that's pretty much the process. I mean, I just am going to continue to pour more of this batter onto this over here. And just keep doing it over and over until I've made all of them. So I appreciate whoever's watching this for taking the time to listen to us. And again, it's myself and another student in class, Patrice. She's not here today, unfortunately. But we wanted to show you guys how we go about making these, trying to get it to a broader audience, not just the local area. And hopefully you found this video insightful and helpful. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.